One for traffic operations, so how can traffic more freely flow through the intersection and improve traffic through the intersection and improve safety. You'll see there were, if you flip to the next slide, on the bottom chart there, between January of 2017 and December of 21, there were 19 crashes at this intersection. So safety is definitely a reason that we want to look at improvements at this intersection. So the top table on the slide says operations and safety. The engineers took a look at what the existing level of service is at that intersection and what they predict it to be in a no-build situation if we don't do any project whatsoever and traffic continues to build at the level that we expect it does. So you can see there, the engineers provide a letter grade, just like in school, A, B, C, F. So in the existing morning level of service, 616 has a grade of B, and 3041 has a grade of C. Everything else has a grade of A. In the PM peak, your level of service is C and C on 616 and 3041, and then again on A's on 214. So that's the current, based on existing traffic that's out there right now, that they took counts and they looked at the traffic as it exists in 2023. If you look out to 2045, that's the last two columns there. If we don't do anything with this intersection, they're estimating that 616 in the morning will go from a B to a C. Everything else will stay at a C, but will get worse. You can see in the PM, 616 will go from about 16, 17 seconds to 20 seconds of delay. 3041 will go from 15 seconds in the morning to about 19 in 2045. In the PM, it'll go from 19.6 to 20 seconds to about 30 seconds, and 214 will stay about the same. So again, that's if we don't do anything. So that's to some degree what we are judging the other alternatives and what we might do at this intersection. This is the rubric that we're grading against. The bottom there is then looking at the crashes. You can see there were 19, as I said. In 2045, if we don't do anything, the engineering models predict 6.3 crashes in that year. The different alternatives, then you can see the estimated or predicted crash frequency each year with the different alternatives, which I'm going to talk about in just a bit. But that's a really critical number to remember, that 6.31. That's the number of crashes that are predicted at the intersection per year if we don't do anything.
So that's per year.
Correct.
All of them are per year.
Yep, so all of those numbers, you can see the 2.89 fatal or injury crashes, excuse me, if we don't do anything. And then there's a reduction in alternatives 1 and 2, an increase in alternatives 3A and 3B, and a reduction in alternative 3C. 3.42 crashes that are property damage only, which are fender benders where no one gets hurt, but the car is damaged in some way. So again, six crashes overall are predicted if we don't do any project yet. So alternative number 1, the next slide, is a roundabout at this location. I want to say up front, everything, all the drawings that you see, all the layout of any of the, the drawings of the projects are conceptual. They're very preliminary. This is not in any way saying this is exact location of putting a roundabout or putting a signal or a road or anything like that. But using a roundabout and running it through the engineering formulas, they're showing the 2045. Again, if we don't do anything, on the left side of the slide there, you can see everything gets a grade of C. If we build the roundabout, the delay drops to 6 seconds in the morning and 7 seconds in the afternoon. That gets a grade of A. And that predicted number of crashes drops from 6.3 to 1.8. So about 6 to 1 or 2. Total cost estimate just for construction is 1.6, about $1.7 million. So this is the most expensive estimate, but overall it does have the largest reduction in crashes, the biggest safety benefits, the biggest benefits to congestion as well. JMT, the engineering firm, also put together a list of pros and cons for each of these alternatives that you can review. Certainly, as I said, this is the most expensive project, but it does have the biggest benefits. Alternative number 2 is just putting in a traffic signal at the existing light, channelizing some things so that right turn coming south would be, you can put in a larger island there, but otherwise the major improvement for alternative 2 is just putting in a traffic signal. You can see in the top left, the level of service is going from a C to a B, so we are seeing an improvement in the level of service, but we're not seeing the significant improvement to crashes, although it does get better from the 6.3 down to 3.5. This is one of the lower construction costs, obviously. Putting up a signal, they estimate $373,000. There is then the ongoing maintenance costs, just like a roundabout, but with the signal as well, there's the ongoing maintenance costs. One of the biggest, I think, detriments of the signal is that, as everybody knows, this is kind of an odd, geometry to this intersection. The signal doesn't really fix that issue, but it does make everybody come to a stop. So, you limit some of those safety concerns there. Then alternatives 3A, B, and C are all sort of variations on the same idea. Alternative A signalizes the intersection and moves the southern leg of 616 away from the intersection and towards the west of the current intersection. So 616 will come in to a new T intersection. You have a T intersection at the current location. For level of service, those grades again goes from a C down to an A, or up to an A rather. So there's an improvement at the intersection itself because we're signalizing it. We're removing that one leg. The engineers do not have a way to measure the improvements or the congestion at that new T intersection because it would be controlled by a stop sign on 616. So. Other than that, there's a pro there. The heavier traffic between 616 and 214 still have through movements, but in most cases, the most common movement through the existing intersection, you'd need to be moving through 2 intersections now. Similarly, moving on to 3B, Green Valley Road would be realigned in this case. So again, you'd have a T intersection at the existing location, and Green Valley will come into a new T intersection on the south side of that. You're improving from a C to an A, 7.5 seconds in the morning and 8.6 seconds in the evening. But from our standpoint, you are not seeing an improvement in safety. You're actually seeing a higher predicted number of crashes, going from 6.3 to 8.5. So that's a major negative, at least from our standpoint as the NPO and the County Planning Commission. 3C then is kind of a major realignment of both roads or all of the roads, creating a new X traditional, four-way intersection farther to the west of the existing location. You do again have the improvement from a grade of C to a grade of A. You have a minor, very minor improvement in safety, but it's not really significant when when you round the numbers. And it is a pretty significant cost there of over $1 million to build the new intersection, a new four-way intersection. There's also obviously significant environmental impacts between the agricultural lands, potential for historic impacts with this one as well. So another con or another strike against alternative 3C. So last slide with any real content on it is kind of a summary of all of the alternatives. It shows you a matrix of all of the alternatives and then every way that JMT, the engineering firm, was evaluating those. So your level of service and your delay in the morning, your reduction in safety and crashes, and then a series of socioeconomic and natural resources and the effects that they predict each alternative might have on those, as well as the construction estimate at the very bottom. So again, like I said at the beginning, really this is an information sharing presentation at the MPO and the County Planning Commission. We're not picking a project. We can't pick a project yet according to the federal process, but we did want to get your thoughts, your questions, your input at this point.
Council, thoughts, anybody?
I have a question. If you make that circle roundabout, would you take some of the people's farmland and so forth?
Like I said, there's always the potential for right-of-way impacts, but these drawings are very preliminary. All of that would be worked out through preliminary engineering and final design if it did move into that type of project. Yeah.
How do you calculate crashes? I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So there's PennDOT has a system that looks at locations with similar characteristics. So the width of the roadway, the speed at the roadway, the type of signal, a roundabout, or the type of traffic control that's there, the number of cars that are traveling through it. There's a whole number of factors, and they're estimating based on the changes that we're making to or proposing to make to the intersection, what a similar location would has seen in at other places. Does that make sense? I feel like I didn't really communicate that well.
That's what it was. I figured it seems like it's fairly difficult to say, well, this one's much more safe because X, Y, Z.
Yeah, we can say for sure that a thing like a roundabout is safer from a severity standpoint than a traffic signal because of just a change in geometry. Obviously, you're removing those conflict points, those left turns where people have the potential for T-bone intersections that are much more severe that result in injuries or death. But in terms of the number, it's really based on those roadway characteristics on similar locations in other parts of the country or across the state too.
Thank you.
Sure.
I guess, is there, I mean, I know this has been talked about a lot in the last couple years, in the last, 10 years, I believe we've heard bits and pieces, and I think we all know, if you're not from this area, you don't know how to drive the intersection. Same way with the bridge down here. If you're not really from the area, you don't understand what's going on, know, and we see PennDOT's solution on how they fix the bridge or how they thought by signage, and we know signage, nobody pays attention to it anyway.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, the biggest thing for me personally is avoiding the trucks to get in there because it's down further past. So, I mean, keeping them where they might not have to make the straight path and making their signage easier to say, well, you take the second exit to go 616 up and around. And I guess too, what would be the earliest time frame something would happen, if anything? I guess that would be the big question.
Yeah, that's hard to say at this point. We have limited funding on the update that's coming here in June. That transportation improvement program goes out to 2028. We would probably be able to put engineering and that kind of pre-construction things in the second 2 years of this step, so 27, 28, with construction coming after that.
So we're still talking almost 10 years probably.
So my only comment would be kind of what he's saying is with our bridge.
Yeah.
Not our bridge, with the bridge in our town.
Yeah.
That maybe you guys can put some of that in mind.
Yeah.
With signage ideas as some of the designs going on.
Yeah.
And I think this is really good data, and I would really like for you guys to continue thinking safety with some heavy weight to it. And I know there's a cost that comes with safety, but with this kind of data, I think it's really important to try to follow the safety board. You can put a Band-Aid out there with a traffic light, but you see what the data is.
Yeah. Thank you.
Who makes this decision?
Ultimately, it would be the MPO, and the MPO is made up of a county commissioner, the planning commission, one member of the state house legislature from York County, obviously. The city of York has a representative. There's a township representative, a borough representative, and PennDOT.
Is the county paying, would the county pay for this or would the state pay for this?
So the money is what comes through the tip. So it's federal dollars as well as state dollars. It depending on the type of funding that would be available, it would either be federal dollars or state dollars, but it would likely not be a whole lot of county dollars involved.
Thank you.
Sure.
When you say a township representative from North Dolores?
No, I'm sorry. So the MPO is for the entire county. So right now, the township representative is Tim James from Manchester Township.
And is the borough from West York? Is that Allen?
No, right now it's Andy, I'm drawing a blank. From New Freedom. Yeah. Andy Shaver.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
We know what you mean. All right.
Totally drew a blank there. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Two quick technical questions
Sure.
for you. Alternate one, the roundabout, they're required to come in at 45-degree angles, right? That's part of the
Yep.
reason it's where it is. Okay, and then on 3B, the reason why you've got the intersection with the one that's coming over, I think, on Green Valley so far down, that's because of distance requirements from the intersection.
Yeah, that would have to be, X number of feet from the traffic light.
I hate seeing that little island cut off there, but that's, yeah. Otherwise, you have the same thing if you put it closer.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I mean,
I think the safer way, I like it better as a roundabout. I think Spring Grove, has, success with theirs. I used to draw the Amish down in Westminster area and them areas down there and never seen a problem, with any kind of accidents or anything. There's no stop sign, no red lights.
Yeah. On a personal note, let me just say, 10 years ago, I feel like this would not be the same conversation about roundabouts. So it's nice to hear as a transportation planner that folks are a little more open to that option. So.
Yeah, and in the same token, we see $1.7 million now, 5-7 years from now,
Yeah.
that's gonna be double that.
I just want to say, John says about roundabout, my husband goes to Spring Grove on Wednesdays, and that roundabout, he said, some of them people sometimes are back to the Hardys.
Yeah.
They're back to the Hardys. He said, personally, he thinks people don't know how to drive in a roundabout.
Yep, there's still an education
Yeah.
issue for sure.
He said, you get in there and they like stop, it's like a stop sign to them.
Yeah.
He said, some days it's back to the Hardys.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
thank you.
All right.
Public comment, any public have a comment? Go ahead, Scott.
Other than fire company, because you're on fire company doing a job.
Yeah, well, this is, I understand the fire company, but I'm also looking as far as the borough, putting a signal light up there. You already have problems now at the bridge with traffic backup. Okay, that's gonna be a problem there, because now you're gonna have people trying to get through the bridge, then trying to come through this direction. And as far as emergency services trying to get through at that time, special times of the day, it's gonna be a difficult way you look at it, When they did this 20 years ago, when they put this intersection over 20 years ago, Tim Lau offered his property before they put this K intersection up here, that they wanted to come down off of Green Valley Road, like in, let's see, segment 3B, something like that. Yeah, 3B. And then that's when the township and the state argued who's gonna maintain that little stretch of road. You remember that?
No.
You don't remember that, Mike?
No, that's all the township.
Right, but then the town, North Cadorus Township and the state argued who was gonna maintain that little section between that. Tim Lau was gonna give the property for them to come down off of Green Valley Road on to 616 to come out that direction instead of putting the K intersection.
Well, they're all three state highways. What is there to argue about?
Exactly, but it was, you know, you put cards in the pool, who was gonna take care of it? That's how it boiled down 20 years ago.
Okay.
But, you know, I'm looking at the, you know, the aspect of, you know, either way you look at it, the main part of the time is you're gonna have traffic backed up trying to get through the borough here. And it's gonna play, you know, heck on, you know, the businesses, you know, that are downtown to have people coming in. You know, as far as making, you know, their business lively. But, so, I mean, it's a roundabout, I can see it, but I don't think the roundabout needs to be that far up.
Well, and that, they said that.
Yeah, that's all, yeah.
That can all be changed. I think it was just a concept, like you said, conceptual idea, and I think we all agree, and we understand what you're saying is, I mean, I think to keep traffic flowing, you know, is the best option.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Without traffic lights and all that, and I think, you know, speaking to them, I think they look more now at safety beyond cost, so.
Yeah, they're
you know,
also putting the roundabout in, it might deter more tractor trailers.
I agree. I think the signage
And that's,
will
and
easier.
that was, yeah, and that was,
That's one of the, yeah,
Right, I
that's,
mean, it's
going
going
forward, yeah, I want to keep.
Because I know our parking lot's really getting stressed from all the tractor trailers that are turning around over there.
And that's why I brought up, you know, PennDOT's solution was not a solution. It was a Band-Aid, and they don't, you know, it's
Right.
their road, they can do what they want, basically.
Exactly.
Okay.
But that's my concern
Yep.
of everything.
Anything else, public comment? Brandon?
Hello, everybody. Hey, Mike Forbes, from York County, Director of Parks and Recreation stuff. He asked me to reach out to the Borough Council and see if you guys would be interested in, it's down there, it doesn't have to be decided right away, it's just if you guys would be interested or willing to do a mutual use agreement, so we could, Mike Forbes could start looking at getting grants for the playground equipment. We're not asking for money or anything else. What the problem is that he's telling me that he can look to see which grants are the best and see which ones has the best, you know, potential to give us what we need for what we're looking for. But we obviously as citizens or anybody else can't apply for the grants, that the borough actually has to be the grant holder or the signer for the grants.
Okay.
So he asked me to reach out and see if you guys would look over. If something, this was just a mock-up, if there's something wrong with it, you know,
All right.
reach out to me.
We'll give, our solicitor a chance to
Yeah, no
review
problem.
that and see if there's any
So
comments.
that's what that's about there.
Okay.
Real quick, love the new one-way signs on Cherry Street. Thank you guys for putting all that in there. It seems like it has cut down on road trucks coming through, at least from my observation, maybe I'm wrong on that.
So on Friday, there was 356-foot tractor trailers.
In the
jackknifed
yard.
And stuff and backed up to.
Yeah, like I said, from what I saw, if it hasn't, I apologize, but from looking down, sitting there in the daytime where I usually see trucks coming down.
So my question, Brandon,
Yeah.
is there's businesses back there, do they have any logistics departments to quantify what deliveries should be coming, what they have there? I was appalled by that when that
Okay,
tractor trailer.
when was where was the tractor trailer stuck again? I'm sorry, I didn't even.
Friday.
Yeah, but where?
Friday, it was backed up into the lot next to the post office
Okay.
and almost into Ender's yard.
You know, I don't know why they were over there, because every time we have someone from the business center that we're working out of, they come into the parking lot, turn around and go back out. And it's always been that way from,
Yeah,
the
and
two people.
to me, I think we should spend more money on bollards than signs, because I just can't believe what, we put signs up and they're tearing the yards up now.
Okay, well, I don't, was that trucks the ones going towards our businesses, or those were the ones lost because they couldn't go under the bridge?
I can't.
Because that was where I thought the majority of what we were trying to shoot for was to stop the road trucks from trying to bypass the bridge, because the GPS tells them that Cherry Street goes through, down through, and it doesn't. I was hoping maybe to reach out to somebody about the GPS maps to tell everybody that you can't bypass the bridge. That was something I haven't got around to doing yet, but I think it would be a great idea to try to figure that out. But to answer your question, from what I saw, I thought there was less trucks from road trucks that weren't coming to the business, that were actually just trying to bypass the bridge. The only thing I wanted to throw out there was the one-way sign at the corner of College and Sherry wasn't taken down, and it has been a few almost instances where someone whips around from College on the Cherry, thinking it's still just all one way from that corner on. We had talked about taking that one-way sign down at the corner of College and Cherry right there, because the new one-way begin sign is now a couple hundred feet
I'll have
down.
to take a look at
I
that.
think it is down.
I thought two was down.
Yeah,
but
it's down.
apparently you get back.
That's what I missed.
Yeah, I see it almost
I
every
looked at it
day.
this morning.
Today was probably the only day I haven't been, I've been busy and haven't looked around, but for the last couple of weeks, it's been there. And just a few days ago, someone was creepy coming around, College and Cherry there, so I've been driving inching very slow when I go to leave from work. So those are the only two things I have. Appreciate your time, and you guys have a good evening.
All right, thank you, Brad. It's a picture of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I don't know what the heck he was doing.
You can see the ruts still.
Right, yeah.
You just look in there.
Like I said, as far as I know, 95% of it, somewhere in that, is not the trucks coming to us.
Oh, no, I'm not saying.
Or,
you.
or the guy next to you, Dave. Right, yeah, he's lost, he's really lost.
All right, any other public comment?
Actually, a question on that, is that something, if we're planning on joining the rec commission, that they could work with them on that?
What's that?
As far as, the disagreement's going to be with, Borough, as far as getting the grants and so forth.
Well, I think the rec committee could work on getting grants as well,
That's probably a good question for the rec committee. I mean,
or.
personnel, I would say.
Yeah.
Probably say that yes, they can do it. I'm sure they're familiar with it.
I did ask Ms. King about it, and they said it's something that they have experience doing, but what I'm finding out from the director of parks is the local municipality is the only one that can actually get the grants. So we can try to find the ones that work great, even fill them out if you want, according to Mike Phobes, but the borough would actually have to be the signer of them. That's my understanding.
Sam, do you know, can we propose something to do to get them grants or whatever?
Well, you guys can look over it.
Yeah. Our solicitor's gonna look over the agreement, and then that's definitely something we can talk about, yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll go into the regular meeting. 2024 budget, the proposed budget that was approved last month.
It has been advertised in the newspaper, it's been on the website. I don't really knowing if anyone viewed it or not, but I have not received any questions on it.
Is there any questions up front from council about anything? Concerns about it? Comments about it? Yeah. Yeah,
I make a motion to pass the 2024 budget.
motion by Bill, second by Deb. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we have a resolution setting 2024, oh, that's all part of it, or we have to do it
No,
separate?
it's separate.
Keeping the real estate millage rate the same, correct?
Correct. Yep, the solicitor has prepared the resolution, and the tax rate will remain the same at 1.2 mil.
Motion by Gary,
Yes. Second.
second by Greg Kiner. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. engineer's report.
Just a couple quick updates.
Everybody have a colored copy of that? Is there one from everyone?
Yeah. I kind of put together just an aerial map here to help us understand a little better, probably for my benefit than anyone else's. I don't know why phase one didn't print, but the one without the label there, from Mason Avenue up to Park Street, that would be phase one, which is covered under our current block grant for the curb and sidewalk, and that section is proposed to have full curb and sidewalk replacement. The area from Mason Avenue down to the rear of 5759 Main Street is also under this current grant contract, but if you remember, the engineer estimates to be a pretty significant shortfall, just because of when the estimate was prepared prior to COVID and all the prices rising. We do have a request into York County Planning Commission to see if there's any additional funds that could be added to our current grant contract. They did get back to us and tell us that they're evaluating that right now, but we haven't heard anything.
So when we met out with the engineers to look at this, we had talked about, they had mentioned about possibly doing like a section and then doing like patchwork down through. And I think we also talked about just kind of starting at, I don't have it written down, Mason to, was that Park?
Mason to Park.
Park. Starting at Park and going down to Mason, saying that's phase one, we probably have enough to cover that.
Mhm.
And then kind of just starting at Mason and going towards Main Street, doing complete curb and sidewalk repair, because that was the plan all along. And then when we're out of money, we're out of money. And then when we can pick up from there and continue on if we get more money. And if we don't, then we start applying.
Right now, where it says phase 2A, what's in the original contract is it's not for full replacement from Mason toward Main. That's just for repair of damaged curb and sidewalk. Then that phase 2B is what the engineer was talking about, possibly if we decided to do the phase one from Park to Mason, not do anything with phase 2A as far as the patching and repairing, but we have a new grant cycle coming up, and just applying with this new cycle that's coming up, we have to have it in by the end of January, to apply for additional grant funding to go from Mason Avenue down to Main Street, doing a full curb and sidewalk replacement. Because if we go forward and we have enough money to do that phase 2A, which would be the patching and repairing of the curb and so forth, they're not going to turn around in a couple of years and give us money to replace all that. So it's nothing we have to decide tonight, but we will need to talk about our January meeting.
So my question is could we do phase one and then say phase 2A, or say just call the whole next block, start at the corner of Mason on Church and start working to do full curb and sidewalk and start working towards Main Street until we would run out of money. Rather than, because some of the patchwork that they were talking about worried me a little bit, because there was a 4-foot section getting redone, and then 30 feet down the road, there was an 8 or 12-foot section getting done. And I don't know, we do one whole block and then we start patching and scabbing down through for as long a project as this has been. My concern.
I like that idea.
I don't know, is that possible?
Yeah, I think it's possible. What I plan to do for our January meeting, I'm going to ask our engineer to, using good cost estimates today, give us a cost estimate for phase one, phase 2A, phase 3, and then we could do, like you talked about, phase 1, and then extend into phase 2A, the full curb and sidewalk. As far as, they should be able to tell us how far they think we can go.
Right, and first thing you're gonna hit is an ADA ramp at Mason and Church, and
Right.
you're gonna start tearing into a bunch of money.
Right.
And I think there's a catch drain there also.
Yeah, and those just need, that's not expensive, because they're not gonna replace those in the tops or anything, so.
Does this include, we had applied for a grant for stormwater, did we get that?
Announcements have been pushed off now to January.
Okay. What is that money supposed to cover? These inlets?
Just the stormwater portion of the project, the inlets and the
And the
tops,
basin?
basins, yes,
So this, down at the corner?
correct.
So if we don't get that money, how are we going to
At-
take care of it?
At budget, we talked about using the ARPA funds,
Okay,
which we have to use by the end of 24 anyway, so.
thank you.
So if everyone's okay with that, I'll get the current cost estimates from the engineer and get them out to you before the next meeting, and then we can decide if we're want to move forward, with just a portion from Mason down to Maine, or if we want to wait and then just reapply in the next cycle.
Todd, what are you finding with the municipality, work with the engineers for these grants, being that it's two to 4 years out? Is there multipliers or percentages that they just put on top, considering what it's gonna be cost
I
in
don't
3 to
know
4
that
years?
answer. Don't know. I mean, I believe they do, but certainly they were thrown off with COVID and the skyrocketing prices.
Right,
Yeah,
and it's still not getting any better. It's still climbing.
So I don't know. I'm sure they put some kind of cost escalator in there, but I don't know what that is.
Questions or comments on that? Do you need any kind of motion to go to the engineers?
As long as there's a consensus.
Yeah, is there anybody that has anything?
With that in mind, you do have in front of you a mandatory contract number 1, which is simply a time extension for the block grant. So if you're comfortable with that, it's a formality. Otherwise, we'll use our grant funding. Yeah, we'll need a motion to
Take a motion to sign the,
mandatory contract number 1.
So moved, so moved.
I didn't.
motion by Bill, second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Anything else from the engineer?
That's it.
All right, solicitors report.
Sewer mediation, nothing new to report. There has been no response that I'm aware of for the request for additional information being waited on for the next meeting. Building transfer, the borough's still waiting on feedback from the Attorney General's office. I have another matter with them on a similar one, and I can tell you they're way back. So I don't know how soon we're gonna get an answer from them. And do you have anything for Stig, please?
No, we did last month.
Okay.
How does that affect us if we don't have it? We just wait, status quo?
Pretty much.
So who owns the building currently?
Tri-County ambulance.
I'm assuming that, but.
Yes, no,
No,
assumptions,
I mean,
assumptions can get us in trouble, we know that. Yeah, that's all I have, unless anybody has anything.
I do have one.
Did you have a chance to take a look at the regional rec, contract at all?
I did, but it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
We'll discuss in January, and I can add this stuff in about the playground.
Okay.
Nothing else from them. Zoning and code enforcement report.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone has any specific questions. The judgment that I reported last month that we're going to turn over to the solicitor for collection, that judgment's been paid, so there's no reason for the solicitor to move forward on that.
He handed it to you? Oh. So you guys signed it.
Other than that, there's nothing in particular unless someone has some questions of me.
Questions for zoning or code enforcement on the report? Okay. Mailbox violations report?
Yeah, just want to give you a quick update where we are on that. I gave you a little quick and dirty spreadsheet there. On May 1st, we sent out the initial letters explaining to the folks about the ordinance requirements for the mailboxes. We mailed out to 35 properties. In that notice, we gave them 6 months which was to October 17th. As of that date, only 5 had complied, so I had to send out 30 notices on October 17th. As a reminder, extended that deadline to November 10th. November 10th came and went, and on November 20th, I had to mail out final notices that dropped down to 17 properties, giving them until December 15th. That final notice included language, what the penalties are and so forth if we have to file with the civil court. And as of yesterday afternoon, that 17 was down to 12. So, and I don't remember the exact date that I gave, but it was sometime here, the mid-December.
15.
Okay.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's listed.
So that's just kind of an update, where we were at. And that is all that I have.
Okay. And we will go to, fire company, Scott.
Anything I have is we had several calls, but we only have one that was in the borough this last weekend for a carbon monoxide detector. And then majority of them have been calls been mutual aid in the department areas. As far as EMC, I have nothing at this time, but if I remember correctly, the 21st of December is Santa Claus in the borough.
What does that mean?
So Santa Claus in the borough? Little fat jolly elf is coming to say hi.
Is he staying at the fire company?
Yes, he's gonna be going out, riding through town in the fire truck, and then I think they're having pizza again with Santa Claus after that.
Is that information you could put on our website, like the path that they're taking or the information taught?
Normally, we run the same circuit every year as far as, out Maple Street, come in Maple Street, come up Main, and then come down, and then go up Church Street, and then turn around at Hunt's Farm, and then come back through again.
I'm just saying, we've had this thing,
Yes.
we've had this thing before about new people not knowing.
What time?
Like put on our
I
Facebook page.
think
Yeah.
it's 6 o'clock.
That's what I was thinking.
Who can I talk to get all this information before we publicize it?
There was a post on the one other site on the comments. I think Amy or somebody from the fire company posted
I'll say
around.
Amy will have the answers.
Yeah.
All right, I'll check with her. Put it on I'll put it on Facebook and on website.
But I'm not sure who's playing Santa Claus this year. We might get Zach.
We won't publish that.
We'll get Zach to do it this year.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Unfinished business.
Okay. Solicitor already talked about that. Item B, and keeping that on the agenda, the stop relocation bar there at the overpass. I reached out to Brock Burwagger with PennDOT, who is the York County District Maintenance Supervisor. He emailed his contacts up in Harrisburg. He still hasn't heard anything back yet. So, College Avenue, Cherry Street, I just want to say the signs are done. We'll look into that one other one. And I thank our wonderful Shrewsbury Township crew for taking care of that. You'll get your bill in December. And then as far as the streetlight addition, I know last month we talked about pulling the contract. The contracts I can find in our files, and I probably just didn't find the right file because I did not get through all of them yet, was 05, which was a 10-year contract. So I think that goes back when we were talking about 15.
Yeah.
So I did email my contact at MedEd and asked for a copy of that as well. But it sounds like we have at least 2 years left on that.
Okay, any other unfinished business? No. Okay, new business. Everybody have a copy, or did everybody see the meeting dates for next year?
Yeah, for those that, January 2nd, we're required to reorganize the first Monday of January, unless it falls on a holiday. So it's the next day. So in 24, next month, it'll be January 2nd. The issue is I have, as you know, a full-time job that I have to be at by 6 o'clock that night. So you can either have a meeting without me, which is fine, or what I'm suggesting here is that we meet at 5 o'clock just for the reorganizational. It should be pretty short. That's where you elect, council president and do resolutions and so forth. And then go back to Thursday like we usually do with a holiday, and then continue on with our regular meeting. Does that work for everyone? Any objections to that?
Do you want to stand on that?
As long as all the paperwork's here, I mean,
You can swear everybody in.
yeah,
Because you weren't up this year. Yeah. I'll make a note, we'll get you the oaths and the residency affidavit.
yeah.
I see you don't have a reorganizational meeting for 25. Are you gonna wait and set
We
that
don't
meeting?
have to.
It's gonna be 60.
Is it a-
We've only
Duh, duh.
Would have been convenient if that's on Monday.
All right, anything else on the meeting days?
If everyone's good with that, I'm gonna advertise that this month for 24.
24 and 25 or just 24?
Just 24, and then,
Projection.
I'll just automatically do it in December 24.
Okay. York County Quick Response Team contribution request.
Yeah, I email everybody a copy. We get this letter annually, just wanted to see if council wants to contribute again this year. I looked, last year it was $200.
I'll make a motion, we contribute $200 this year to the court. Yep, the court, the response, I'll say, York County Quick Response Team.
Motion by Bill, second by Greg Hollis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Treasurer's report. Everybody had a chance to look over it. Are there any questions on it? Comments? Concerns? If not, I will take a motion to approve, accept, and file statements for audit to authorize the treasurer to pay any regular bills. Motion by John, second by Gary. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's that. And now we go to reports from the secretary.
The only thing I have is, I can't remember because it just got today, did I email to you I think I did, the delinquent pen waste accounts?
Yes.
Just some of those have really accumulated, and according to Penn Waste, the person I spoke to with COVID and everything, for the last 3 years, they have not done any enforcement or collections of any substance where they go to district court and so forth, but they did tell me that they are starting that back up. So some of those will probably go down a little bit, so. Yeah. Yeah, I believe, according to what she told me, typically they have in a year about 2,000, now this is company-wide, New York area, about 2,000 accounts that end up going to district court that ultimately end up before the sheriff. And she said they usually have about 2 sheriff sales a year. So, so anyway, I just wanted to let you know what that report was, and to let you know that they are going to start ramping up their collection efforts again.
Just a quick question on here, Todd. I know there's a lot of names on here, but the first name that's up there, is it a duplication about 3/4 of the way down?
No.
Is that a different property?
It's the 2 units on one property.
Okay, okay.
The one that is,
But it struck me as one was like 90% higher than the other one.
Yeah, they're paying, because I questioned that, they are paying the bill for one of the halves of the house, and they're not paying for the other half. So that's one that I do, she did tell me that did go to collections already, and they started that process. Yep. Mayor's report.
First off, Brandon, I want to thank you for the Christmas tree lighting. I'm sorry I could not stay afterwards. I had other obligations afterwards, but it was a very nice turnout, very nice. I do think it is a benefit, and it's nice to see that back. I was never here in the borough when that was a thing, so it is nice to see. Hearing Pastor Bill talk too, I think he really appreciated it. He liked, I never knew that was he never brought that to the borough's attention, that he ever wanted to do something like that with that tree. But I do appreciate you and all those who worked on that. Again, I would say we had, 50, 75 people maybe?
We counted over 50. We only
Yeah,
counted 50.
again, I think a great turnout. I think, me personally, I would like to see that grow into the future. I think everybody up here too would like to see stuff like that grow, and I think we are on the right track. Whether, it might not be the smooth and straight path that we all want, or a quick path, but I think we are on that track, and I hope in the new year we see that grow even better. And I hope those options of more events like that come available. So I do appreciate that. I attended the York County Birds Association annual meeting in November with Cheryl. I do want to congratulate her being reelected as a state representative for the county to the State Birds Association. I do think that's a benefit to us. She is in the know of everything, so I do congratulate you. I have for Zach, on behalf of the Boroughs Association, Zach, I'm going to present you with your 10 years of service to Seven Valleys. Again, I thank you for your service. I think like you, me and you kind of got on the same time, about the same time, same day. So,
So yeah, pretty close.
I know it's been a learning experience for me the last 10 years. You yourself as well, and I do think as a council president, the last few years, it's only grown, and I appreciate your service, and again, congratulations. Also, I do think it's a fantastic for the election that we had almost a 50% turnout. That is spectacular for a municipal election, and to see everybody involved, whether you won or lost, doesn't matter. I think getting people out to vote is a great thing. So to have almost a 50% turnout for a municipal election was great. So congratulations to all those who were victorious. John, I also want to say thank you for it looks like, this may be your last meeting with us tonight. I thank you for your service, your knowledge, your inquiries into everything. And again, I think, if there's anything that, you can provide the borough, please don't be a stranger, and we welcome you back anytime. Other than that, I got nothing else.
Just one thing, I did actually, I thought my name was spelled wrong a few times, and I did call York County election, and they referred me to York County solicitor election, and I left 2 voicemails with the details, and nobody ever got back, so it's not a big deal. It is what it is.
So I'm good. That's all.
The liens are still at 3.
Yes.
Any comments on the sewer report? We kind of mentioned a little bit about that.
I would just call everybody's attention to page 3 of the minutes, or I'm sorry, page 4. They talk about the Church Street pump station, approximate costs, and also the Seven Valleys force main. In particular there, it says about Church Street, they're not gonna do anything until they figure out what's going on with remediation issues. And I'm obviously not knowledgeable enough on plumbing and that, but when they talk about water hammers in the force main, you were there, Brandon.
I was
Can you
there.
elaborate a little more on what they were talking about with that, please?
Not a problem. So from Church Street, which is our last pump station, out towards their main system,
Mhm.
there's what, like a 2.5 mile long stretch. Along that stretch, I believe the number is 12, I could be wrong on that, but there's check valves.
Okay, okay.
And so the check valves, or the air vents as they call them, air vents, they've gotten old, and it was actually, the springs on them had like broken off. He actually brought, the plant manager brought one along and actually showed everybody what it was like. So with that spring going, when it comes back, the spring wasn't holding its closed, so it would actually vibrate, and that caused hammering, which unfortunately stressed out the pipes for the main street, or the break there along Church Street.
Okay. Now, that was the check valve, that makes sense.
Yes.
I understand that. Okay, thank you.
They're also looking at putting in an aerator valve, which may help stop that hammering. The price not to exceed $7,000, I think you said.
No, when you say aerator valve,
Some
No.
type of area valve, is that?
Is that something put in
So
air
it's
into
the
it,
same
or
thing, it's a valve, but it was,
It's an air relief valve.
it had more mechanics to it to, I guess, let it close like slowly instead of slamming shut.
Anything else on the sewer?
I didn't get a chance to throw any of the numbers, so I just read the minutes.
Just regarding, we talked about putting the sewer meeting minutes online, which is fine. Unless council has any objections, I'm just going to do like we've done with the treasurer's report. Attach it, since it's just informational, to our regular meeting minutes for public viewing. Because otherwise we gotta create a new page and people don't know where to look. And it makes it just easier.
Are you gonna leave the C?
Yeah, I'm just on the minutes.
Okay.
Meeting minutes only. Okay, everyone okay with that?
Anything else, Todd? Mike? Sam?
Nope.
Cheryl? Greg? Deb?
I have a couple things. I had somebody contact me and wanted to know when the house that burnt at 150 Church Street, when is that gonna be cleaned up? Because they said to find all the kind of little critters running around in their yards and so forth. And I said I would ask you what in the intent is.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check on that. I don't know. I can tell you the last time I talked to the property owner, which was probably back in July or August.
Did they
He
just
wanted to get it cleaned up and insurance was not letting him do it.
Okay, that's
So,
what
I don't know if that's still the case, but I'll
That's what I
try to
told
find
her.
an answer.
Next thing, I had someone that I had to go write a check to. She's old. So I had to go write a check. The ambulance took her, our WellSpan ambulance took her to the hospital November the 6th. She got a bill today, okay? I had to call them and I said, well, she belongs to the WellSpan ambulance because it was tri-community. So they checked and they said, okay. So the next question was, I said, are you going to do like tri-community? Are you going to send us cards or something telling us when the membership is going to be? They said, no, they're not doing it. So I want to know, how are these people in the borough going to know when to sign up? They said the membership goes from July the 1st, 2023 till June of 2024. And I said, well, like this lady, she's old, so I have to write the checks. And I said, well, this lady isn't gonna remember that. And I wanted to ask you, Todd, what are we gonna do for the people in the borough so they know to sign up for the membership for the next year?
I'll reach out to the contact I have that runs the EMS here for WellSpan.
Okay.
And I'm not knocking whoever you talk to,
Yeah,
but
right. Well, it's from
I
you-
experience
it's
this a
from
lot
you
with the
company, yeah.
refuse collection
Right.
companies.
Well,
When
this
you
is
call the
where you
1-800
come
number,
Yeah.
yeah, people just don't have the information or knowledge. But they assured us that they were gonna mail them, so I'll check on that.
And next thing, this is just out to everybody if you're walking on the rail trail, okay? There is a raccoon running around that's got rabies, okay? My husband was on the trail yesterday with the dog, and the raccoon come running after him, and he said he tried to grab the dog so he wouldn't get bit by him, but there is a raccoon on the trail that is running loose, and we said it has to have rabies because it don't chase people.
What side of the,
It was down where I live,
yep,
okay, and it was going towards, Lois Hunt's property.
so, okay, so.
I heard a dog barking there the other morning,
Yeah.
I had my dog out, it's about 2:00 in the morning, he was really on that thing.
Oh, yeah,
Howling and
well, I know it
barking.
wasn't my dog because we
No,
don't
I know,
know.
I'm just saying.
But yeah, and I know it has to have rabies because somebody told me they will never chase you unless they have rabies.
Did you call the parks? Pardon? Did you call the parks authority?
No, I didn't because I don't have a number to them. So,
He could have got a hold of the county, they could have dispatched somebody.
well, I hated to call 911 and say, hey, guess what? We got a raccoon loose on the trail. But I'm telling you, it's on the
He
trail.
actually needs some help. It's not saying
That's it.
Gary, that the person that didn't get contacted through WellSpan, were they a member of Tri Community before?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, because I
Because
called,
I got mine, and I think I told you that before. I don't know. Was I the only person in town that got
no,
something from WellSpan?
No, I
I'm thinking
didn't-
maybe it was just previous members that
no,
they
no,
had.
I didn't get anything. No, I had to call WellSpan.
But I
They
believe
sent
that
me something.
Jacobus sent everybody.
Everyone, yes, and that, I called them when I got mine, I said, why are you sending, and they said that if they need you for like, say you're saying somebody
Okay.
has a heart attack or stroke, whatever.
Well,
they
maybe
will
if some of
send it
these
to
went
me.
out, maybe you would feel comfortable enough privately to tell Todd who didn't get one and they could get mailed one.
Yeah,
Just
well,
they could be
she,
mailed
I
one
had to
private.
give them her
We don't
check
have to-
number, I had to give them her check number.
Yeah, you
when
don't have
she
to tell,
gave
you
me-
don't have to tell everybody who it is,
Yeah.
but, and they can mail you one also,
Right,
possibly.
yeah, but I didn't get one, I had to call
But I
WellSpan.
knew since the last meeting, and I found out that information about Jacobus.
Yeah.
I did join them,
Oh, yeah, I did too, yes. And
just
this
for that
lady-
reason.
Yeah, and this lady that I write her checks, I told her you better join, because it said you never know if you'll have a heart attack or a stroke or something.
And I like the roundabout.
John?
Yeah, something that Brandon brought up here a few months ago was about our sewer bill's gonna be going up, no doubt about it. I think that's inevitable. And a lot of this water being put into the system, it's not coming from the ground or anywhere. It's from houses, being tied directly in. And I know, I'm not gonna mention any names or anything, but, just below me, of course, homeowners have changed since then. I can remember people having, trash pumps out too, sucking water out of these houses, for days. And for some reason, I'm no longer getting anything, my sump pump isn't running. So I believe somebody's throwing a lot of water into the system. And my question is there anything we can do, about putting a newsletter, about asking these people, if they're doing that, to have their system changed to be pumped outside? Or is there anything we can do about knocking on doors? I know that's not probably a kosher thing, and asking, can we look in your basement?
Todd, I need to ask, when we had our, sewer put in, the guy came around, because I had a shower in our basement, on the laundry room, and he came around and he took I call it a big screw type thing, and he capped that off that I can never, ever use that. And they checked to make sure, because I have another one that I've had for years, that they checked it and they said my sump pump would never, I wouldn't be able to use that shower, nothing, because they capped it. And that's why I was wondering, did they not check people's homes? Because my house is checked.
I think they did,
Oh, okay.
but they have reworked it since the guy inspected.
Oh, okay.
Like, you can take that cap off and have a
Yeah,
shower.
no,
You know what I'm
I wouldn't
saying?
be able to,
No.
not the way they, not the way they
you
put it
know what I'm
on.
saying though, Deb,
Yeah.
it was correct at one time,
Right.
but then they reworked things.
Oh, okay.
And I think the biggest problem too is the sewer authority does have a resolution when a property changes or a deed transfer happens, that it's supposed to get a plumbing inspection.
Oh.
They're finding that the real estate agents are just, they're not doing it. So now they've got to proceed with some kind of legal action. And again, anybody can walk around and knock and ask, but the homeowner does not have to let you in their property to do an inspection. And that's what happened with the sewer authority when they did that. You know, there was a couple that did, there was most of the people, my understanding, they knocked on the door and they said, no, you're not coming in our house.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I was gonna say, one thing, council could maybe consider, just a postcard notice to all property owners. It'd be a lot less expensive than a letter, just to remind everyone. I think we could probably get that detail on a postcard. Because I think it'd be important to mail it versus trying to hand deliver, because it's, the wrong door and it blows away or whatever. But, I mean, that's a possibility.
And I believe also maybe Sean was gonna offer some less expensive rates to help people out to do that. Anyway,
thanks, John.
that's all.
And then just a quick update, I'm actually trying to work on finding if there's people that would contribute towards funding to help people out with, the actual expense of it all anyway. So it may be, if we can get that worked out with some people, might be no cost to the property owners if I can get that finished. So I just want to let everyone know I am working on that as well.
Greg?
Yep, good.
Bill?
The only thing is, just again, I want to reiterate and thank John for your service down here. I appreciate your knowledge and your fortitude towards the communities that you served on.
No, sir.
I want to double down on the John thing. Thank you very much for everything. I know we've been on the street, we been together for a while now. And, also, everybody clapped for me, Doug. You're here 10 years also, and you accepted your 10-year thing. So I want to All right, move back into any public comment. All right, meeting adjourned, 5 o'clock, January 2nd. So now we're going to.
Yeah, happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, everybody.